Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Media Live from our news hub here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. Top of the bulletin this afternoon with me, Efua Atiku. Travelers are stranded along the Yendi-Bimbilla Eastern Corridor Road in the northern region due to flooding. All is set for election of regional executives of the National Democratic Congress tomorrow. And German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Nigeria's President Buhari to discuss illegal migration. Also, all is set for the Ashanti Regional NDC Delegates Conference on Saturday at Kumewu. Now, 4 persons are vying for the ultimate position, that is the chairmanship seat.
December 2018, the National Democratic Congress will be having its regional elections to elect regional executives to man the party ahead of the 2020 elections and beyond. In the Ashanti region, all is set for the Congress on Saturday. I have with me here the Deputy Regional Communications Director, Solomon Anani, to talk more on preparations so far and what we should expect on Saturday. You are live on TV3. Can you tell us how many delegates will be voting on Saturday?
Yeah, currently we have 1,316 delegates voting.
And I know you've already had your youth wing and women's wing elections last week. So which other positions are the delegates going to vote for on Saturday?
Yeah, the positions for GRAP includes the chairman, the vice chairman, secretary, deputy secretary, organizer, deputy organizer, treasurer, deputy treasurer, communication officer, deputy communication officer, and Zongo caucus. Those are the positions we are going to vie for on Saturday.
Where will the elections be and what are the security arrangements with so far?
The election is taking place at Kumewu. And as we speak, all stakeholders with respect to security have been informed. We've written a letter to the regional Director of Education because the occasion is coming on at Chinibo Secondary School, and for that matter, we need to secure the facility. The regional minister have duly been informed. The Kumewu MCDC has also been informed. We've held a series of meetings with them as to security arrangements, but those are issues you cannot put in public. But I can say that things are in order, and there are adequate security for anybody coming. Nobody should fear. Their security will duly be catered for.
Ahead of Saturday, we heard that some constituencies were having challenges with their album and elections in general in the constituencies. Have you been able to resolve all these challenges, and will all constituencies in the Ashanti region be voting on Saturday?
Yes, we held a meeting yesterday. That's all delegates participating in this election, and we all agreed on the roadmap. As we speak, 46 constituencies are voting out of the 47. The people had issues with other funding members and former MMDCs and ministers, but I think it's also been resolved. So largely, all the aspirants are okay with the register as we have it now.
And would all constituencies be voting?
We have 47, as I said, and 46 will be voted. It means one constituency is not voting. Kwabre East. That is Kwabre, yes, Kwabre East constituency.
What is the issue there that you've not been able to resolve it?
They've still not elected their constituency officers. The last time that we had the election, there were some small skirmishes here and there, so the election was postponed. So they are yet to have their constituency conference to elect their constituency executives. And for that matter, we do not have substantive constituency officers there, and which means they cannot take part in the upcoming conference.
Aside the women wing, that is the women organizer, which obviously goes to a woman, with the other positions that are going to be voted on, would you say, not as an individual, but as a party in the region, would you say you are impressed with the number of women who have contested, or you didn't get any other woman contesting the other positions?
It's very sad. Apart from the woman organizer, I think that other women put themselves up for the Youth Congress, but unfortunately were not successful. For the mainstream officers, unfortunately, women are missing. It is purely men dominated, and it's an area we need to improve upon it. I think that we need to encourage our females to take part in politics. If possible, reserve some seats for them, because areas like treasure, women can do it and do it better. But for now, it's wholly men affair here in Ashanti.
So that is the Deputy Communications Officer of the Ashanti region, Solomon Anani, who is assuring all, especially delegates who will be going to Kumewu on Saturday to vote to elect new regional executives, that all is set, security is very intact, they shouldn't feel intimidated at all, and victory is set for them if they elect the right regional executives. Beatrice Piogabra, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Right, so the regional elections for the NDC is all set to take place tomorrow. Now, I do have in the studio two candidates contesting the secretary position of the Greater Accra region, and that's Lois Tete and Tete Chai. Good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us in the studios.
Thank you.
Right, so your party, the NDC, and I'll start with you, Tete Chai, recently in opposition. Does it present you a new set of challenges?
Thank you very much, and let me say good afternoon to your cherished viewers. In life, challenges are also part of our daily endeavors. And as political parties, day in and day out, we are faced with new challenges. The party was in opposition, the party was in power. Today, we find ourselves in opposition, and therefore, it is a new challenge. And that is the main reason why today, the NDC as a political party is rebranding itself to assume that leadership role once again.
What sort of brand do you want to couch for yourself?
Every political party, after you lose elections, you need to assess yourself and find out some of the challenges or the reasons why you couldn't get the mandate of the people. As a political party, we have gone round, led by Dr. Chrissy Butwe. We've assessed the reasons why our own people couldn't support us. And those are the lessons that we have learned as a political party. And so going into these elections, we have those things at the back of our minds. And that is what is going to propel us to ensure that 2020 we win back the power that we lost.
Lois, let me come to you now. What do you envisage is the immediate need of the party, of NDC?
Thank you. Let me say good afternoon to your cherished viewers. I think that in NDC, we know ourselves very well. And I will say what we need is just to feel good about ourselves once again. To know that the party we belong to cares for us as it used to do. And that loyalty will be rewarded once again. Thank you very much.
Right, so let me still stay with you and pick your brains on this issue about old hands and new hands. You know, people talk about experience. Let's keep the ones who are there. And some also say, well, let's go for fresh ideas. What's your view on that?
A mixture is always the best. You can keep some very good old ones, and then you add very good, smarter, new ones. Because as you do something all the time, after a while, you realize that what you are doing may not be good enough. So you need new ideas to mix with what you have been doing so that you get a better result.
Right. Now, you were in Parliament, and now you want to run right. Why is that so?
The party has invested a lot in me. Today, I'm Honorable Tete Chai because of the NDC. I've had a lot of experiences. I've worked within the structures of the party, at the branch, at the ward, at the constituency, and at the regional level as a deputy secretary. So throughout my life in the party, that is the role I have served before I became a member of parliament. I've gone through 2 successful elections. I've gained a lot of experiences. I won a constituency that was very difficult for our party to win. I won, I maintained it. So it tells you I have certain qualities. And today that the party is in opposition, that is the right time for me to come down and help the party. So that is the passion with which I'm coming to contest this position, to ensure that the things that we couldn't do better in 2016, I'll have that direct oversight on the constituencies to ensure that the right things are done.
Right. So before I let you go, let me put you on the spot. Who are you vying for the chairmanship position? Lois, you? Let's go.
If I plan on being the regional secretary, I have to be discreet on this point. I'm not vying for anybody.
You do have your favorites, I'm sure.
I have, but I'm not a delegate. So my opinion is not valued here.
But Tatacha, who do you think will do a good job?
As a very efficient administrative secretary, you should be able to work with anybody that the Congress decides to elect. And for me, I'm ready for anybody that will be elected as chairman for the region, because the focus is the 2020 elections.
Right. Thank you very much for being very discreet with your choices, and also wish you very well in these elections.
And let me also congratulate my sister for joining a field where men are.
Yes, I thought she would have asked something about that being a female.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's even a non-starter, because we are already in those spaces, so there's even no point asking about it at this point.
And she's doing very well.
Of course.
She's doing very good. Well.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you, ladies and gentlemen, for being in the studio. So we there are 4 people contesting the chairmanship position of the Greater Accra region, and very shortly. So there are 4. Yeah. NDC aspiring secretary, that's Tete Chai. We do have him in the studio. There's also Lois A.K. Tete, yes. And there's Aristo Ai and Victor Abdul Kwashi. So these are persons contesting the secretary position of the NDC. And also, right, so you're watching Media Live on TV3. Let's still stay with this issue of NDC regional elections. And Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Ade Coker, says taking care of the needs of delegates does not amount to vote buying, citing an instance from the chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, for purchasing 275 buses for constituencies. Ade Coker on 3FM's morning show Sunrise said they should be seen as party activities.
The National Democratic Congress will go to the polls on Saturday to elect its regional executives for the next 4 years. Ade Coker, who is currently the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NDC, is hoping he would retain his seat. Speaking to 3FM's Winston Amwa on the Sunrise Morning Show, Ade Coker rubbished the tug of votes buying on candidates vying for positions.
How do you bribe somebody?
They say last time you gave them plasma tea.
Well, that is irrelevant. That is not.
Did you give it to them?
No, I'm. Listen, if you decide to motivate your fellow party member, this is a bribe.
Yes.
He bought vehicles for his party constituency. Is it bribe? Is that, do you call that bribing?
What is it?
No, it's encouraging them. It's motivating them.
Motivating them.
Yeah, well,
an election.
I don't see anything wrong.
The defeat of the party in the 2016 election still remains a nightmare for many supporters, and Ade Coker, whose chairmanship witnessed the party losing many seats in the Greater Accra region, admitted that policies in 2016 did not inure to the benefit of ordinary people.
Depending on infrastructure development, which was massive. But if the people are telling you that they can't pay their electricity bill, they can't have 3 square meals, right? Those are the basic needs of the people. You see, how many people are going to travel or are going to traverse Dubai Circle?
The Circle interchange.
the person living in Volta region, right, who is looking for a first-class market, and we have not offered that first-class market.
And you are showing him Dubai.
You are showing Dubai. I mean, he's going to ask you, and these are the things that after the event, you realize that that's why it's important that government policy must be what? Person-centered.
1,000 delegates in 34 constituencies will take part in Saturday's elections.
So apart from Adekoka, there are 3 other persons in that race for the chairmanship position, and we do have Emmanuel Ashimo, who is also in the race. There's Yahaya Kundo, also in the race, and of course Daniel Amate, also in the race. So these are the persons on your screens currently running for the NDC chairmanship race for the Greater Accra region. And one of them has just joined us in the studio, Daniel Amate. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
Thank you. I'm very grateful.
So we did hear Adekoka there saying that taking care of delegates is not a big issue. But how far is too far when it comes to monetization in elections?
Well, like Chamadi said, taking care of delegates on the eve of election. I mean, these delegates are members of our party. They are coming from their constituencies, and they have been there for some time now. So if you have been taking care of them, it will not be on the eve of the elections. I strongly believe that there are little things that you can do to ask delegates, because definitely they are coming from constituencies to the grounds. So if you support them with a means of transport, I don't think it is amount to bribery. But there are certain amount when you give out. There's no way somebody can take, say, 1,000 for transport from a place like Adam to Legon. I strongly believe that we are in this race to serve our people. And it is the programs that we are putting in place that will lure to the NDC coming back to power in 2020 is the key, and these are the issues the delegates are considering. I strongly believe that the delegates have taken a decision. They have actually made up their minds, and no amount of monetary inducement will change what they want to do. In fact, when you go through the constituencies, you see, even constituencies that have won election have also changed the officers in the constituency, because they believe that, yes, we won election in our constituency, but in going forward, we want to win 2020. And we see that some of the players have done their part. There's a need for them to give way for new, fresh minds, fresh energy, fresh ideas to drive the constituency.
What sort of ideas do you have in mind?
Oh, well, I have been with the party for 26 years. I've served the party as a branch chairman. I've been a constituency treasurer. I've been a constituency chairman. I was a municipal chief executive. Currently, I'm a national executive member. I've decided to come down to the region to help, because I believe that Greater Accra region is very, very important. If you look at the figures, you don't need anybody to tell you, because if you pick the 10 biggest constituency in Ghana, 7 are in Accra. If you pick the 30 biggest constituency, 21.
Yeah, but I wanted to find out what
I'm bringing on board
at,
is
right?
My experience is working from opposition. I managed the party from opposition in 2005 to 2009. I was part of the team of chairmen who organized the various constituencies and won this power in 2008 and brought the party to power in 2009. That experience is what is necessary. I've worked with the grassroots, and I've assured the delegates in the various constituencies that I'm coming to strengthen the constituency. Once the constituency is strengthened, it will trickle down to the branches, because the branches is where the voting takes place. In terms of mobilizing the necessary resources, I've done it before. I'm the only person who have managed the party from opposition to government. The 3 gentlemen, they are all fine gentlemen. But where we are now, none of them have been there before. And so you need somebody who was successful managing the party from opposition to government at this crucial time to be given the mandate to lead the region. And that's why I'm in this race.
Daniel Amate, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and we wish you the very best.
I'm very grateful.
Now let's still stay with politics. The General Secretary for the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, says his decision to seek re-election is not born out of self-interest, but a response to an overwhelming appeal from members of the party. He told TV3's Bright Jaka in an exclusive interview that his experience and delivery as General Secretary for NDC over the years is a benchmark for the governing New Patriotic Party.
Processes are currently ongoing in the NDC to elect executives that will run the party for another 4 years, both at the regional and the national levels. Barring any last-minute hitches, regional executive elections will be held across the country on September 1, which will pave way for the National Delegates Conference. TV3's checks reveal most of the national executives are seeking re-election. While some are moving up in ranks, others are maintaining their current position. One of such executives who wants to still retain his position is Johnson Asiedu Nketia. While some proponents of change in the NDC believe it is time the General Secretary moves up or step aside for another fresh face to take over, the NDC scribe has another view.
I believe that the party needs me. And in fact, when there was some false information that I wasn't going to go again, I couldn't have peace of mind at all, the type of pressures that were brought upon me. If I were in any delusion that I'll be allowed to take a decision around that particular subject exclusively by myself, then that type of pressure that came cleared that delusion.
He said those who are in haste to replace him should know that his institutional memory is a delight, especially for ruling NPP and other smaller parties, saying he has become a standard for the NPP in choosing who becomes its General Secretary.
During the whole of the Fourth Republic, there has never been any General Secretary who has that combination of skills and background. And so that is what makes my candidature stronger. And I want to believe that MPP has been looking for somebody like that.
Now let's look at issues of flooding up north, because travelers plying the Yendi-Bimbilla stretch of the Eastern Corridor Road in the northern region have been left stranded for over 20 hours due to flooding. The travelers, most of whom are women, say they do not know when or how they can cross and reach their destinations. Zubeida Ismail brought us this report.
Your eyes will behold Kenya, but your foot will not step there. This is how the scene at Lipuli community in the Bimbilla municipality can be best described. Vehicles traveling from the northern region to the south and vice versa are left behind the bank of an uncompleted bridge in the Lipuli community. Vehicles of all sizes and shapes, the small and mighty, have pulled over at both ends, as none wants to risk driving to the flooded bridge, not knowing the depth of the water. Travelers are taking solace in looking at each other from far ends and watching some daring drivers display their skills through the floodwaters. The brave drivers are directed by residents who know the nooks and crannies of the affected stretch. The northern region from Monday, August 27, 2018 till the morning of Friday, August 31, 2018 experienced constant rainfall that only stopped for just a few hours. The rainfall has caused flooding of the uncompleted bridges on the road, making it unmotorable. Female traders carrying babies say they have spent 24 hours at the mercy of the rain. Farm produce, including truckloads of yam, are equally left at the mercy of the weather. It is uncertain when these stranded persons will cross to their destinations, as that depends on reduction of water levels on the road.
Right now, back in Accra, residents of Dome Kwabenya in the Greater Accra region have appealed to the authorities to assist them to repair untarred roads in the area. The roads, which are potholed, have become virtually unmotorable during this rainy season. The residents, led by Emmanuel Adongo, have threatened to stage a demonstration on September 4, 2018 to show their displeasure about the road network in the area.
The Dome Kwabenya Road have become a challenge for residents in the Ga East Municipal Assembly. There are gullies and huge potholes scattered on the surface of the roads. The situation is said to be worse when it rains. Motorists, especially taxi drivers plying it daily, complain of frequent mechanical faults. However, most are left with no choice than to crawl on the unmotorable roads. Concerned residents and business owners of Dome Kwabenya have lamented for close to 5 years about the dust from the untarred and pothole-ridden road, which is making life uncomfortable for them. According to the group, some commercial drivers do not want to ply the roads because of their poor state. They therefore implore the authorities to urgently come to their aid.
We have a very bad road network in Kwabenya. And when we decided to make our voices heard, our honorable member came in, intervened, and asked us to give them time, which we did. But over 2 to 3 months now, we are not seeing any action being taken to see whether the roads can be constructed to help businesses to flourish, to help in our security system, to help in easy access to health.
Convener of the group, Emmanuel Adongo, said drivers had to meander their way to avoid the many potholes. He threatened that the group will, on September 4 this year, stage a massive demonstration to register their displeasure.
We want the government of the day to know that we are suffering. Our businesses are collapsing. All the food vendors on the road cannot do any better business because the dust will settle on their food.
Our citizen journalist Michael Donko Osei highlights the poor state of a bridge at Sunyani in the Bunahafo region.
This is Adair Bridge, Sunyani West. This is a bridge linking communities on the Odomase stretch to their farmlands and other destinations. As we speak, it is in a bad state. Thank you. And so we are calling on authorities to come and then help do this. It is in fact a threat to lives. People are gathered here. They cannot go to their work. They cannot return back.
Michael, thank you very much. You can also send your video report via our WhatsApp platform 055-1433-044. Let's take a break now. We'll be back with more. Welcome back. The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has suspended its planned protest against the implementation of the Cargo Tracking Note Policy, CTN. Now, this follows postponement of the implementation of the policy to October 15, 2018.
Officials at GUTA say the decision to suspend its planned protest against the implementation of the Cargo Tracking Note Policy, CTN, follows an assurance given to it by the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to resolve all issues related to the system before October 15, 2018. The president of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Oben, speaking at an event which was meant to announce the closure of shops in protest against the CTN, said the CTN's pilot phase was implemented with minimal stakeholder consultation, and its full implementation now will lead to a reduction in turnaround time at the ports.
We have issues to deal with. So for the 6 weeks that have been suspended, the CTN has been suspended, we urge all institutions to do what they have to do. Otherwise, our luta continua.
The executive director of the Food and Beverage Association of Ghana, Samuel Agre, said the CTN will lead to a duplication of systems already in place and add to the cost of operations at the ports.
So we are saying we cannot have two organizations doing the same thing. Because if you are doing the CTN as another private entity and Ghana Customs is also doing, the ultimate organization is the Ghana Customs. So when you place your invoice from CTN and they tell you they don't agree with the benchmark values that you have, then they take it off. So what happens to all the investment that you've done previously?
President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Kwabena Ofosu Apia, said combining the two would escalate the cost of doing business.
22 nations doing what? CTN on what model? The CTN is a security model. Originally, you have to have people on the ground inspecting what is going into the container. Is this CTN that we are implementing today, have they got boots on the ground to inspect the cargo before they are put into the container? So what is the value proposition?
The CTN, which took effect July 1, 2018, was introduced by government to track all imports in order to reduce revenue losses associated with under-declaration of goods at the ports. Per the policy complete compliance, vessels will not load containers without CTN numbers at the port of loading.
MTN has raised a total of 1.146 billion cedis from its initial public offering IPO. Now, the amount realized from the IPO shows that MTN fell short of its target of 3.47 billion cedis by about 2.3 billion cedis. The telecom company, however, says the performance is highly commendable considering the volume of the offer. Now, the company says it is hoping to expand its operations and give value for money to the investing public. A total of 128,152 applicants bought into the shares. This is made up of 127,653 retail investors and 499 institutional investors. MTN is expected to list the proceeds of the bears on the Ghana Stock Exchange next week, Wednesday, September 5, 2018. This is also expected to boost activities on the local bears. Some investors who purchased the shares are yet to reconcile their information with the Central Securities Depository. And that's all for business this afternoon. Let's look at some issues relating to flooding. Now, Burkina Faso Power Authority has begun the spilling of water from the Bagri Dam after almost a week of postponement. Managers of the Bagri Dam have given notice that the rising volume of water in the dam is at 80% in the month of August this year, as compared to 50% rise in the volume of water the same period last year. It has therefore become imperative to spill the water. A similar exercise was undertaken in August 2017 over the same reason. So joining me on the phone line is Abu Ramadan, the Deputy Coordinator of the National Disaster Management Organization. Good afternoon to you, Abu.
Good afternoon.
So when did the Sonabel authorities begin to spill the water?
After this morning, 6:49 exactly, it started spilling. And they are spilling at a rate of 95.48 meter cube.
Have you been able to move farmers away from those areas that are likely to get flooded each time that the dam is?
We will feel the impact of the spillage by Sunday. It should take about 48 to 72 hours before it hits Ghana. So by Sunday, we would have succeeded in moving those very low lying to high lying areas.
But have you begun removing those people? You're waiting
we started the exercise since last week, the sensitization. So we're just waiting for the Sonabel authority to give us the signal that the spillage has started. And I have instructed our men to go into the villages and start doing that. So immediately we start doing that from today.
But have you engaged the farmers along those lines, and are they willing to move?
Oh yes, most of the farmers are willing to move. Their only problem is their crops. So we encourage them to harvest the crops that are ready for harvest, so that the ones that are not ready, we can count it as a bad loss. Considering the fact that the white quota is already full. It's already full, and 60% of the farming areas have been submerged already. That will be greater than what we were anticipating.
Now, it's not more concerned that every year we have to go through this issue where we have to move farmers and from their farms because there's going to be flooding, because Bagri Dam will be spilled?
It's a great concern because it comes at a huge cost to the state in our quest to remedy the impacts of it. So we're speaking with government to find a lasting solution to this problem, so that we can find a permanent solution that will serve the interests of all of us.
Thank you very much, Abu Ramadan, who is the Deputy Coordinator of NADMO. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. When we return, we have sports. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is in Nigeria for the last leg of her West African tour, which has already taken her to Senegal and Ghana. The trip aims to increase economic relations between West Africa and Germany, as well as work towards reducing the flow of migrants from the region to Europe. During her meeting with President Buhari in the capital, Abuja, she's expected to discuss ways to strengthen economic cooperation between their countries, including how to improve regulatory conditions for foreign investors to Nigeria. President Buhari and Chancellor Merkel will also touch on the subject of illegal migration, a key internal issue for the German leader, whose trip to West Africa has coincided with violent anti-immigration protests in eastern Germany. Up next is entertainment. Now, high life musician KK Fosu has been seen in a video performing his secular songs at Bishop Daniel Obinim's church. Now, in as much as it may appear unthinkable for secular music to be sung in church, the congregation appeared elated. They sang along and boogied to it. Songs performed included Obapa, Treme, and Number One.
Secular music is known to be well patronized outside the church space. The trend is, however, fast changing, as secular artists are now locking up performance deals in the church. Anajoya, the hitmaker KK Fosu, is the latest to join the list of secular acts to sing for congregations. You may call it controversial. KK Fosu did deliver renditions of his love songs, Treme and Obapa. Performing his mega hit, Number One, the singer endorsed Obinim as a genuine man of God. The elated congregation did not just sing along, they swung and twisted to KK Fosu's songs. This is not the first time a secular music is being performed in the church. On Sunday, 29th May 2011, members of the Christo Asafo Church in Bompata, Kumasi, danced to High Life to welcome their founder, Apostle Kojo Safo, who paid the branch a visit. Not so long ago, the head pastor of the Anointed Palace Chapel, Reverend Obofo, and his junior pastors performed Shatawale's Taking Over during church service. We taking over, we dey go higher.
taking over, we the show gaga.
Obofor claimed most of Shatta Wale's songs have better content than the mainstream gospel songs.
God bless SM for life. Ewadisha, the nation's preacher. Yes. Shatta Wale. Oh. I bless that guy in Jesus' name. He's an international preacher.
It is unknown why Bishop Obinim invited KK Fosu to sing in his church, especially as gospel music with the message of salvation abound.
And on that note, we end Midday Live on TV3. My name is Efua Tieko. If you want more news, please do go to 3news.com. Have a lovely weekend.